I'm being completely serious when I say I think everybody's capable of at least a 35-inch vertical, and most people are capable of a 40-inch vertical. Everybody wants to jump 40 inches, but none of you will get there. Not because you're not training hard, but because you're not thinking about these 6 things I'm about to talk about in this video. So let me get straight into it. Number 1, your sports background when you're young. A key but underrated factor in vertical jump potential is your athletic exposure during your childhood and adolescence. If you played sports growing up, then you have a massive advantage in your vertical jump journey. If you're consistently playing sports like basketball, soccer, volleyball, and especially track, then you're at a really good spot right now. Playing all of these sports when you're young at a high frequency, these sports are going to help develop your muscles and tendons and your coordination to the point where they are right now. So your exposure to these sports when you're young will pretty much determine the type of athlete you're going to be when you're older. A study from 2015 found that kids involved in multiple sports develop better coordination, faster reaction times, and better muscle tendon efficiency compared to those who are specialized in single sports. So when you're young, it's not just about playing a lot of one singular sport. It's going to help to get experience in multiple different sports, to get different types of adaptations, and better overall coordination. The reason for this is because of neuroplasticity. This is basically our body's ability to adapt. And when we're younger, our body is way more adaptable. So that's why if you're in your teens or if you're younger, get your jumping reps in. Play basketball, sprint a lot, play soccer. All of these things are going to play a key role in your vertical and your overall athleticism now. If you don't have that athletic background and you're older right now, you're likely not going to succeed as well as somebody that does have that background. And that's just the reality of it. But that's fine because you could totally make up for it now by doing the proper work. So my key takeaway is if you played multiple sports growing up, your body naturally learned how to produce force efficiently through years of repeated explosive movements. Number 2, your genetics. Let's be real, genetics matter. As much as I want to say genetics don't matter, it does. Some people are born with a more preferable distribution of fast twitch muscle fibers, others with a longer Achilles tendon, longer femurs, different muscle tendon insertions, and some with just simply more explosive and stronger muscles. For this part, there's nothing really you can do but rely on your parents. Anthony Height is a really good example of this. He was probably one of the most genetically gifted humans in the history of humans. I don't think he had much experience with formal training, but is arguably one of the highest jumpers ever. Had a 50-inch vertical in his prime from just jumping. Not too much of a structured training plan. And this is just what I heard. I follow him on Instagram, I follow his stories, and he posts about his journey a lot, so this is the gist of what I understood. Anthony Height, if you're watching this, let me know if I'm wrong, but you are ridiculous. But before you use genetics as an excuse, remember that most people don't even come close to their genetic potential. That's because they think their athleticism can be changed. You can still maximize on what you have, but I'm just mentioning genetics because it's the reality. It matters, but you can't change it. So don't worry about the things you can't change, like your height, your limb length, and worry about the things you can change. Your max force output, your rate of force development, your tendon stiffness, your coordination, your technique. You can develop all of these things. You can alter your fiber type distribution through the right training. So if you train in a specific way, you can alter it to favor more type 2 muscle fibers, which is your fast twitch. So it's not the end of the world if you're not jumping 40 inches out the womb. Number 3, body composition. As harsh as it sounds, you can't be fat, you can't be overweight if you really want to jump higher. This is probably the lowest hanging fruit in jump training. It's so easy. Once you cut fat, you'll probably start jumping higher. And I don't want you guys coming at me, sending me fat guys that can dunk, saying stuff like, what about Zion? Zion Williamson is a generational athlete that will perform well regardless of what his weight is. His vertical will probably benefit if he was lighter. But don't use outliers like Zion and other fat guys that could jump high as an example that body fat doesn't matter. It does matter. A high vertical is dependent on your strength to weight ratio. If you're strong but you're heavy, you're working against gravity. If you have excess fat, it doesn't contribute to force production at all, so it's just weighing you down in a jump. It's just extra weight you need to propel yourself off the ground with. Think of jumping with your body weight and then think of jumping with a weighted vest. That's basically what excess fat is. So since fat doesn't generate force, it's pretty much useless when jumping. And fat adds resistance. The heavier you are, the more effort it requires to jump. Look at elite jumpers. The highest jumpers like Jordan Sutherland, Jordan Kilgannon, and Isaiah Rivera, those guys are probably around the 8% or lower range. If you're over 15% body fat, you're leaving inches on the table. What's the fix? Clean up your diet, eat in a caloric deficit, limit your fat intake, and train hard. Number 4, an extensive training background. This kind of ties in with number 1 because by including yourself in multiple different sports, you're pretty much subconsciously training. Even if you were to never hit the weight room, you're getting the necessary stimuli to get better as an athlete when you're older. Jordan Kilgannon didn't start weight room training until he was 19 years old, and even when he was 19 years old before the weight room, he was jumping like 45 plus inches and one of the best dunkers in the world already, just from jumping a lot. However, when I say training background, I mean experience doing formal and structured training, not randomly adding squats and plyos into your routine. Those things may be good, squatting and doing plyos, of course, steps. But achieving your highest absolute vertical isn't about just doing the right thing. It's about years of structured progressive training that develops the qualities necessary to succeed. Athletes at a higher training age tend to perform better. Obviously, right? The longer you train, the better you'll get. The newer you are to training, the less successful you'll be. Being well experienced in multiple different sports is one thing, but the types of gains you could get in the weight room is second to none. For example, I have an extensive history of playing basketball, soccer, and track and field when I was growing up. I played sports almost every day, so I fit the criteria of doing a lot of sports when I was younger. But when I was 19 years old, I was only able to jump 26 inches. My max squat was about 145 pounds. My max deadlift was about 155 pounds. And I was super uncoordinated in all of these lifts, barely being able to power clean 95 pounds with proper form. Fast forward to when I tested a 41.5 inch vertical last year in 2024, which is 4 years from when I started. I was squatting 315 pounds, deadlifting 385 pounds, and power cleaning 245 pounds. Those 4 years in the weight room did a lot of work, progressed me like crazy. So that should show you the benefits of training in the weight room properly. And a lot of athletes get this wrong because they think just working out is gonna help. You don't wanna be working out, you wanna be training. Two totally different things. And if you wanna train the right way, hop on Get a Vertical and I'll coach you through it. If you got knee pain or wanna jump higher or just wanna become the best athletic version of yourself, then I got you. I've gotten tons of guys pain-free after dealing with knee pain for multiple years. I'm helping older guys get their first dunks. Pretty much all of my athletes are seeing progress in the vertical because of a set of rules I have placed for them and a structured individualized program I have for them. I currently open 5 spots in my coaching for serious athletes who are looking to get to that next level. So if you have serious aspirations about jumping higher, fill out the form in my bio and I'll reach out if you're a good fit. Number 5, you must jump a lot. Have an extensive history with jumping. This also kind of ties in with the first point. Accumulate a ton of jumping reps. Accumulate a ton of jumping reps in your lifetime. Not just when you're young, but throughout your whole life if you really want to maximize your vertical. Of course, you want to do it pain-free. And of course, the younger you start, the better. The more you jump, the more efficient you'll get at the movement itself. You'll get the neuromuscular adaptations, you'll get your technique better, and you'll be able to progress pretty easily on it. Max jumping is self-intensifying. Unlike weight training where you're increasing the weight or the volume or the intensity each time, jumping will naturally intensify because as you get more efficient with jumping over time, your outputs increase, forcing your body to adapt to higher forces that's being placed on it. It's pretty much progressive overload every time you do a jump session. Strength and rate of force development and tendon stiffness is important and all that, but let's not forget jumping is a skill. Just like any other athletic activity, it must be learned and practiced hundreds and thousands of times to master it. Think about how the most elite jumpers can just easily jump 40 inches whenever they want, while Olympic weightlifters will struggle to jump that high. The weightlifters are definitely stronger and more powerful, but they don't practice the jumping reps that the elite jumpers have practiced. And number 6, your recovery. Jump training is intense. You're generating high forces, absorbing impact, and pushing your nervous system, muscles, tendons, and joints to their limits. Your fitness level may be higher, but your performance is going to take a big hit if you're fatigued. When you train, you're breaking down tissue, you're depleting energy stores. When you recover, your body will counteract that by rebuilding itself stronger than ever, so that it's able to handle the stimulus that's been placed onto it. Don't fall into the trap of overtraining. It can do more harm than good. It could lead to a higher likelihood of injury, or it could possibly keep you in this chronically fatigued state for a long period of time, thus having your performance dip for a long period of time. Make sure you're giving yourself enough time to fully recover by doing these few things. Make sure you have full rest days. Not light training days, but full-on rest days, where you're doing absolutely nothing, you're relaxing, you're sitting on the couch, watching a movie. Try not to do anything too exhausting on this day. Your sleep is also very important. Try to get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. Of course, sleep quality can vary, so it's not just as simple as sleeping 7 to 9 hours. You can sleep 9 hours and be totally exhausted, but keep in mind that sleeping at 3 a.m. and getting 9 hours of sleep, it's not the same as sleeping at 10 p.m. and getting 9 hours of sleep. There are ways to optimize your sleep, but I'm not going to go over that in this video. Deload every 4 to 6 weeks. Like I said, jump training is tough, and you can't consistently train harder and harder, progressive overload every single week for a whole year straight. Like, that's just impossible unless you're just built different. So deload every 4 to 6 weeks. Deload meaning take a week where you're decreasing the weight or the volume or both to allow fatigue levels to return back to normal. Also, eat good food. Your nutrition is a huge determinant in your recovery as well. So fuel yourself with the right things. And those are 6 things that you can do to maximize your vertical jump. Jumping higher takes commitment. You don't randomly get yourself into the top 1% vertical jumps in the world, unless you're doing one of these 6 things at a high level. For example, your genetics could be at an all-time high. That can give you that edge. Or your athletic history. You could have been playing sports and jumping for years in your teens, which developed your vertical automatically. So those things alone could get you in that 1%, but don't rely on that. So if you're young, save this video, rewatch it over and over again, and thank me when you're jumping 50 inches. If you're older, still fine. I started jump training at 19 years old, and that's still relatively young, I know, but it's on the older side of other guys with 40-inch verticals. You can still do 4 of these 6 things to maximize on your vertical jump, which is maximize on your body composition, getting an extensive history in the weight room, getting a lot of jumping reps, and recovering properly. You'll still be able to reach your ceiling if you're quote unquote too late. Shout out to Andy Nicholson. He's dunking at like 52 years old. Come on, man. Don't make excuses. But yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll catch you later.